Hello students, continuing with the revision lectures of the industrial law subject. Today we'll be having a discussion on the Trade Unions Act 1926. Before going to this particular topic, you all know this is a very small topic and therefore this lecture will be short as per this particular topic. Now the question comes here as to the objects of this trade union, then the registration of the trade union, the funds of the trade union, and dissolution of the trade union. This is the general overview of this particular topic. Now, before going to this topic, I would again request you to have your textbook with you and the notes with you. You can jot down any important points you may come across. So, before going to this topic, let me give you one simple story. So there was one person who had many children. They were fighting against each other. What he did was that he called them one day to his room and gave them a single stick to break. So obviously it was a very simple task. Everybody broke that single stick. Afterwards, what he did was that he made a bundle of those sticks and then he gave it them to break it. So that was a very difficult task. So the same kind of logic applies here. A trade union. So there is a word called as union in there. So this act came into force on 1st June 1927. Year is 1926, but it came into force in 1927. We had already discussed this particular thing, that though a particular year, so as far as the year of this particular act is 1926, but it came into force on 1927. The basic objective of this act is to regulate the trade unions. The definition of trade union as given in section 2H means any combination, whether temporary or permanent, formed primarily for the purpose of regulating the relations between workmen and employers, or between workmen and workmen, or between employers and employers, or for imposing restrictive conditions on the conduct of any trade or business, and including any federation of two or more trade unions. This is what the definition is given of the trade union. Now, coming to the topic of the registration of trade union. So the government appoints an officer called as a registrar of trade unions. Like there is a registrar of companies, registrar for the partnership firms. In a similar way, registrar is an officer whose main duty is to do all the administrative work related to these trade unions. So what is the mode of registration, or what is the process of registration, as we call it? Under section 4, this particular topic is given. So any 7 or more members of a trade union, by subscribing their names to the rules of the trade union, so they may apply in a particular form, and then they have to give various details of it. Some of these details we already discussed. One is name, occupation and address of the members making of this application, a name of the trade union, address of its head office. So you have to first decide your trade unions. Normally, you could see, you may have come across many trade unions. You're traveling by trains, and also you may have seen various trade unions. For example, the NRMU, the National Railway Mazdoor Union, the CRMS, Central Railway Mazdoor Sangh. They're affiliated to various political parties. That's a different thing. But then anyways, these are the names of the trade unions. The names, occupations of the office bearers of the trade unions, that are also to be given. And therefore, this particular process of registration, so the registrar verifies each and everything, and if he is satisfied, then he gives them a certificate of registration. There is also provisions where the registration can be refused. Say for example, certain information, if he finds it to be he doubts the veracity of this information. If it is not found to be complying with the required formalities, then he can refuse to register this particular trade union. Now the advantages, or not advantages, you can call it, rights and the privilege of registered trade union is that once you are a registered trade union, you become a body corporate. So therefore it's very much important to have a registered trade union, because say for example, if the registrar sometimes, if he refuses to register your trade union, then you have an option to go to the relevant court by challenging, in an appeal, by challenging his decision. So your registered trade union acquires the status of a body corporate. one of the important things, I mean, I can call it the gist of this particular main advantage of this registration is that the office bearers of the trade union, of a registered trade union, are exempted, or they get kind of an immunity or protection from the work done in a good faith. Understand this thing, very important one. Say for example, there is a particular issue in any factory. The trade union takes up the cause. Say a worker has not been receiving wages for many months, or there has been some kind of an issue. So if he brings this to the notice of the trade union, if they go for discussion, collective bargaining, we discussed it. So if the trade union takes up his cause, normally it is seen that they are also being pressurized by the relevant companies by saying that we will file a case against you, you're intimidating us, threatening us, how can you take up this case? So therefore, if it is done in a good faith, then they are protected from any kind of criminal cases, also civil cases. However, so there is a condition to it. This protection is not available if they are indulging in any kind of a violence. Right? So it's not that just because it's like, say for example, most of the professionals, most of the people working in any of the fields, they are having a reasonable protection. Say for example, a doctor, policeman. So if whatever work they are doing, if they are done it in a good faith, say reasonable use of force by a policeman to restrain any person. So if there is a crime happening in front of him, and if he uses a reasonable force, so he is being protected by the law. So the person upon whom the policeman uses the force, he cannot file a counter case on that police officer by saying that, look, he has beaten me up or he has done any kind of a thing. So this is what immunity stands for. So that kind of a thing is there. Now coming to the point of the funds of the trade union. So there are two issues here. One, general funds of a registered trade union could be spent on certain heads. Say for example, allowances and expenses to the office bearers of the trade union. I am talking about allowances. Payment of expenses for administrative trade union. So trade union, it's a body corporate. Obviously, you need to have an office to run a company. You need to have certain staff because you need to carry out certain things. Prosecution or defense of any legal proceedings, if any kind of a cases arises on any workers, even that expenses has to be undertaken by this particular general funds of the trade union. There are many things. Say for example, a worker has unfortunately died in an accident. So over and above the compensation which he receives from the factory, even the trade union may support his children for education or give certain kind of financial support to him. So even that is covered under the general fund. They can even bring out any kind of magazines or awareness issues. Say for example, the new rules and regulations which are there. So they can organize a workshop and all this. Now all this requires funds. So these are the expenses of the trade union. Then again under section 16, they have a separate heading which is called as funds for political purpose, which says that a registered trade union may constitute a separate fund from which payment may be made for the promotion of the civic and political interest of its members. Now this is a very interesting thing, and that is the reason you see why most of the trade unions are affiliated to political parties. There have been successful cases where the trade union leaders have become mainstream political leaders. George Fernandez is a prominent name. Likewise, there are many other people who have actually fought for the rights of the workers, and then they have come into the mainstream politics and even become ministers and cabinet ministers and all those things. So these are the basic issues as far as the trade union is concerned. Dissolution of the trade union. So where a registered trade union is dissolved, a notice of the dissolution shall be signed by 7 members. So like registration of trade union, the birth of a trade union, even there is a provision from as far as the dissolution is concerned. So this is a very small topic. I hope you may have got some idea as far as this particular topic is concerned. Make sure to revise all the topics, whether it's a big topic like the Industrial Disputes Act or this particular small topic which is the Trade Union Act. In the next revision lecture series, we will be discussing about the Factories Act. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay home. Bye.